Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Talking Cardboard. We are doing another one in our massive series of PAX Unplugged related videos. So we only have the three amigos here, John, myself, Jurch, and Corey. And we are reviewing the new 3rd edition to Azul. John was the one who purchased this game, who fell in love with it. He's going to take the reins on this episode. So John, take it away.
Yeah, so bought this one at PAX Unplugged on the first day. Azul Summer Pavilion. Like George was saying, it is the 3rd Azul game in the line. Yep. Definitely enjoyed the first version of Azul though. This one adds a nice fresh take on it where you're still doing that tile drafting, I guess. Tile drafting. Except this time, instead of placing it onto a grid, you are now using these tiles and placing them onto your, it's like more of a snowflake. Yeah. And scoring points based on if you're placing tiles next to each other or finishing off certain color snowflakes. And then you also have like bonuses you can get for placing tiles in certain locations.
We've got wilds that change each round.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then if you encompass a certain piece
like a
statue on the board, then you instantly get to draw extra tiles in order to place.
So a lot of added layers to this game versus the first iteration.
Yeah. It also doesn't have weird lead time like end condition. Yes. Whereas in regular Azul, you're like, once someone completes a row, the game just ends. Yep. Whereas this is based on 6 rounds, and then you do some end game scoring, and then the game's over, which just makes a lot more sense if you're into like planning out your turns and seeing what you can make happen without things just abruptly, randomly ending.
Yeah.
So, which I like.
There definitely is an engine to this game now that you can be planning rounds ahead based on some of the tiles that you save.
Yep.
Because you could be saving things that will be wilds, lining up certain combinations where you could be getting bonus tiles to be playing down. So there is a lot more strategy, a lot more organization to it, even though the board looks much different. And it's working in almost 3 dimensions instead of just left, right, up, and down like it would be if it was regular square tiles. That now we've got these parallelograms where it is off-centered, so the shapes are much different that it's making.
Yeah,
so
exactly. That was my biggest pro with this game, is that this, I know we're going to compare to the first iteration a lot, but this compared with the first Azul has so many different avenues to victory, more strategies to come with that, but it doesn't seem to be overly bogged down with that. It definitely adds a couple more layers, but doesn't add a whole lot of complexity. I love the fact that there's wild tiles each round, and encompassing those statues are a lot of fun too.
So I initially, when I saw it, I was really intimidated by it because it does seem like there's so much more that's being added, but it still has the same heart. It's just, it's more complex without being more complicated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's definitely probably my biggest pro of this game, is it's still very easy to teach someone how to play this, and I think it's pretty easy for someone to pick it up and actually like understand what's going on the first time they play this game.
My biggest con is that I'm not very good at it. I had this trouble with the original Azul, is I am not able to juggle what I'm trying to do with stopping what they're trying to do. So then that routinely leaves me in like 2nd or 3rd place. So it's not a complaint about the game. It's just my biggest con for it is that I'm not really good at it.
I agree. That's kind of the hardest thing about this game, is what you decide to grab might affect either positively or negatively on what your opponents can do. So if you're not paying attention to what other people have on their boards, you could allow them to combo into something pretty drastic. So I guess that would be the biggest con for me too. But at the same time, that's kind of a pro. Like we said earlier, that adds strategy.
I agree, because it's both a con when I see someone is going to grab like a ton of purples at the end for that final round, and I just have no use for purple. That really stinks. But again, it's a pro. I should know how to play around that, or be confident that I'm going to create my board to be garner me more points in the end than they are. So I don't know, I like that dual level of, just strategy.
Yeah.
Right.
So John, what do you think the skill versus luck factor is in this game.
Obviously, there's a little bit of luck to this game with just the tiles that are popping up on the draft tiles, or draft, I don't even know what you call them, zones. But overall, I'd say this game is mostly skill. Just knowing what to draft, when to draft it, and how to kind of get your pieces on your board to maximize completing the zones or just maximize your points at the end.
Yeah. I would agree, and with more consecutive plays, I think you just get better and better at the game too, which could play into the fact that if you're playing somebody brand new and you've been playing this game a lot, you might kick their butt. But it's also fun when you're playing with other people that have the same skill level as you too.
Yeah. So what about the teachability, do you think?
Teachability is still real easy, real simple, I think. It's not much more complex to teach than the first iteration of the game. Like John said, and like we all know, it's a drafting tiles game. So once you kind of get the gist of how to draft and just a couple of the other, surrounding the statues to get an extra bonus tile, and once you kind of learn the flow of that, that might not take more than a minute or two to really grasp. Then you've got the entirety of the game under your belt.
Yeah, I'd say literally the hardest rule in this game to remember is that when you take tiles and there's a wild on there, you get the wild as well.
And only one of them.
Yes, and only one of them. But that's always hard to remember because someone will go in to grab just the wild, and it's like, well, technically you could take something else with that because you get that wild no matter what.
Yep. And another thing is the wilds are always shifting every round, like we said too, and you can only save 4 tiles from round to round, so that really plays a factor in the skill too.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Then what do you guys think about replayability?
Oh, hi. I mean, I've only played this twice, but I could see playing it multiple times. It's always going to be different. Your strategy is going to vary between what colors you're going for. And again, it's not really that long of a game if you're playing with people that have played before.
Yeah.
So it goes fast and good replayability.
Yeah, completely agree. Low threshold of entry, it's easy to teach, high replayability. This is just a really good game to have in your library. So the fact we've got the first edition and now this third edition, I think we're really going to be plugging this one for a lot of people.
Yeah. And do you need more than one version? Probably not. I would say this is probably the version to get if you're more of a gamer. If you're new into gaming, maybe start with the first one.
I actually think this would be fine to just jump into.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So then let's just get our final thoughts on it and our rating 1 out of 10. John, what do you think?
I've only played this 2 times, but I'd say I'd probably give it a 9. I mean, this is a game that I feel like if anyone wants to play it, I'm going to play it. And I'm probably going to suggest it as a game to either start the night with or use to break up some longer games. It's just really solid. It's got that level of strategy and it's just simple to play and fun.
Yeah. Corey, what about you?
I'm at a solid 9. This game is awesome. It's one of those games where I think if I give a game a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, I wouldn't mind buying it for my own collection, even though John already has it, because you can play with other groups of people, family, friends, and it has high replayability. And it's one of those strategy games that you can kind of keep in your collection that it's definitely lighter, so you can bring it out with more people.
I would give it an 8.5. I like it. I think it's a nice light kind of filler change of pace game. It's not necessarily a party game, but it's one that you can pull out with any groups of people. So it's nice and light and fun. It isn't quite what I would think as one of my favorite games, but I love playing it. So anytime we suggest it, bring it to the table, I'll love playing it. I will try to get my wife to play it, and then my family too, because it's a game that's really approachable for all different types of people. So obviously it's a buy.
Yep.
Yeah.
The price point was
like
pretty low.
$30.
I paid $30, but I don't know if there was a deal for being at the convention center or not. So it's probably between $30 and $40.
Which is perfect range for a game like this.
Yeah, I mean, you get some nice tiles, and the quality of the cardboard is good. And
if you have a collection of 10 games or a collection of 100 games, it'll fill that abstract niche just perfectly.
Couldn't say it better myself. So good thing I was the one that wrote it beforehand and told him to say it. So without further ado, this is our review of Azul Summer Pavilion. It's the 3rd edition of Azul. Pick it up, play it. We're quite certain you're going to love it. So until next time, we're talking cardboard, and hopefully we'll have a 4th member. Take care.